Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another spectacular episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. I am your host, that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, repping 592, living in the 718, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a young woman who just started wrestling. That's right. She's been in it for barely a year. And in that 1 year, she is already the adrenaline pro wrestling, I think it's called Shadow Women's Champion. She is also a co-host on our good friends on our sister, I guess you could call us our sister podcast, our cousin podcast, Wrestle City Radio, with my mentor, the Obi-Wan Kenobi to my Anakin Skywalker, George Alonzo. She is your favorite best friend. Everybody, welcome to the show, Emily Locke.
Hi guys! Oh my goodness, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here, and I love that intro. You just hype. You're just so hype. I love it. I love that.
I always get excited whenever I do this.
I love that. It's always good to be excited.
For the ring announcer thing, it's a little bit of Road Dogg, a little bit of Justin Roberts, and I just yell at the top of my lungs and hopefully I sound good. So, yeah. But
I love that.
So how's everything been for you so far? I mean, you're the Shadow Women's Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you know, after doing battles with people like Kelsey Reagan and JC Love and so many other people, now you're finally the Adrenaline Women's Champion. How's it feel?
It's great. I feel great. So I feel it's crazy to me because my 1 year is approaching at the end of this month. I think I'll have to look. It's either the end of this month or end of July, and I feel like I feel like it's been longer. I don't know. It's just I feel like it's been so much longer, and I've just had such a great time. I've been just enjoying everything I've been doing. You're getting heat right now.
Scott, you look at Justice League and look at the part where Superman came back to life and what he did to Batman. That's all I'm gonna say. But go ahead, go on, Emily.
But yeah, no, I've just been having a really good time and just enjoying it. Especially like, seeing, your weekends fill up and it's just constant go, go, go. And it's an awesome feeling. And I feel like I've been grateful that I get to wrestle all the people that I've gotten to wrestle. There's people that I want to wrestle again. Like my first match ever was Catalina Perez, and I just want to wrestle her one more time. I haven't gotten a chance to. I want to wrestle her again. So I just feel it's just been great. I've just been very happy since I started wrestling. So
yeah, that's I'm very glad that you're actually enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard many people say, I can't take this anymore. It's over for me. I'm done. And I've heard some people say they've had some great times. And I've heard a bit of the medium, but I'm glad you had a good time and that, you're actually, down there in Florida where y'all have a lot of talent, pretty much doing the damn thing and just, enjoying it. And, congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
To many more great things, maybe appearance on AEW WWE. I'm hoping, then I can
soon, hopefully,
And I'll be like 2012 Daniel Bryan when I'm like, yes, she did it. I'll jump
on that'll be me when I get that call or that email. I'll be like, yes.
Yeah, I'll be like, people look at me like my sister and my parents will probably be like, what's wrong with you, Remy? And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I interviewed this girl on the show. Now she's on TV, and
That's awesome.
She's part of my good friend George Alonzo's show, and now she's doing the damn thing. She almost kicked Thunder Rosa's butt or Jade Cargill's butt. Sorry, Thunder Rosa. I got nothing but love for you as well. But she gave Thunder Rosa a run for her money, and she gave Jade Cargill a run for her money, and yeah. I'm definitely hoping that happens for you.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah. But apparently, George had I think it was Scott, when we had Scott Bruce, who was actually in the chat, he issued a challenge to George, and he said several best of Texas and several best of Florida going head to head. So we might just see that hopefully we get to see, you and maybe JC Love and several
Ooh,
Florida going against several of the women in Texas. But
I'm up for the challenge.
the thing is, who is going? And he actually said it. He said they need to get you to Texas so they can face the Texas talent. So Scott, why does it have to be in Texas? Why can't it be in Florida? You know why? Because you Texas people are afraid of Florida man. You can have your guns, and I know how bad y'all are with them guns. It's like it's showdown at OK Corral. But y'all know y'all wouldn't mess with Florida man if y'all came to Florida. I'm sorry.
There's nothing scary about Florida. I love Florida.
I don't know, man. I've seen some stories, but I mean, I used to live in Fort Lauderdale too, so. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I chose to live here, so I mean.
So you're not from?
No, I'm from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Go Buckeye.
Ohio.
Oh, I4K.
Yeah, no. See, yeah, no. I am from Ohio. I was tired of the cold and I had an opportunity to come to Florida and I said, I'm taking this opportunity and I've been happy since I've been here. I know a lot of people who like are originally from Florida are like, no. Why would you choose to move here? But I feel like that's how anybody is. Like, I don't know why anybody would choose to move to Ohio because it's Ohio. It sucks. There's nothing to do. It's cornfields.
Well, I mean, there's Cincinnati. I'd probably go. I'd probably want to live. I'm a city boy, so if you throw me in a city, I'm good. I mean, I'm here.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, I know there's Cincinnati. I've only been there a couple of times. I would say that the place that a lot of people like to go is Cleveland. I'd say if there's anywhere that like there's something to do because you're closer to the lake and stuff up there. So, but still, I didn't like it there.
Well, hopefully, you get a chance to go back to your hometown and show those wrestling talents, against your fellow. I think you call it Ohioans.
Ohioans, that's what they say.
Yes. Maybe get to go one-on-one with your fellow Ohioans. Show them, what the Sunshine State of Florida done taught you and whatnot.
I'll watch show them and that'd be cool just to like, be able to have like my family there because a lot of my family's still there. So, it'd be really cool to have a chance for my family to see me wrestle. That would be awesome. Hopefully I can get booked at least close enough to Ohio, maybe Indiana or something.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So let's take a time traveling trip back in the past, and I gotta ask you, man. So how did your love for professional wrestling start? What was the event or the pay-per-view that you saw that piqued you, that I guess the correct term is piqued your interest or got you interested?
Right.
Or you got one uncle or aunt that you started watching and was like, yo, that looks cool. Auntie, uncle, what's that?
Yeah. So here's the thing is I don't have the typical growing up watching wrestling. Like I did not grow up watching wrestling. I do know my uncle, he would watch wrestling and he would talk about wrestling and it'd be on but I never really really got into it until I went to college and I met a group of friends who was really into wrestling. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me give it a shot. Like, I'll watch some shows with you guys, blah, blah, blah. So I started watching and it was NXT and it's just kind of because like every time I mention this, people are like, really? I was really into like for a second, I was really into the vaudevillains because I like character. So like when I saw vaudevillains, I was like, huh, that's interesting. But then the moment that like I really, really, really started to like fall in love was my very first show that I went to, and it was a Ring of Honor show. And the crazy part is like Jay Lethal was like the main event, and Jay Lethal trained me. So it's kind of crazy. Like it went full circle that like Ring of Honor really brought like my love for wrestling and I really fell in love with it watching like Jay Lethal in the main event. And then 5 years later there I went getting trained by him. It was so crazy. So I would just say like mostly, but like that promotion was Ring of Honor for sure. Ring of Honor. And that was when Young Bucks, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, like all of them were there. And that was where I just like started to like obsess over wrestling. Like my life became wrestling, constantly going to shows, watching it. But yeah, but I didn't have that typical growing up, so.
Yeah, Jay Lethal is one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm not gonna say Ring of Honor. I'm just saying period, and I hope he gets the chance to do it again
Hmm.
in AEW because now he's signed there, and I've always liked his work. The man definitely worked his butt off. Real cool guy outside the ring. I
Hmm.
had the chance to meet him at a Ring of Honor show actually 10 years ago at when WrestleMania was in Miami. Really chill guy, and
Hmm.
definitely doing great things in professional wrestling. Even
Oh,
as a trainer,
absolutely.
I've seen him. Like we had two guys on here the other day. I know. I think you saw Exodus. Very
I
incredible
know
guy,
them.
and I personally think that they're going to be one of the best to watch out for.
Oh
From
yeah.
what you told me, they're going to be that team.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
so so how did your So now you're watching. So you saw Ring of Honor, man. I tell you, So there was a time in my life where I was actually watching wrestling for a while, and then I kind of just dropped off of it, and then slowly I was getting back into it. I was getting back into it bit by bit because I heard that about Daniel Bryan and how great he was, or Bryan Danielson,
Hmm.
how great he was, and then I was like, okay, I got to see what this Ring of Honor thing is about because I heard about Bryan Danielson, and I heard about Seth Rollins, who was
Hmm.
back, and then so I'm like, I gotta check out what this Ring of Honor thing is. I saw some TV shows, and I was like, okay, it's nice. And I saw I just like you, I went to a show actually,
Hmm.
and I was like, wow, okay, I'm officially a fan again. I've found
Hmm.
it again with professional wrestling as a whole.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's definitely um and it's a different experience, like watching on TV versus being there and experiencing the wrestling and experiences. Like, you can say you're a fan of wrestling, but then you go to a show and it's a completely different experience. And I'm not talking just like, the bigger promotions, like even like indie shows. It is so fun to just go there, be a part of the crowd and experience, and just it's just amazing. The experience of being in a crowd. I think that's why it solidified, because it was like there was this, I don't know, there was this fan, like an actual fan, like a ceiling fan at the show. And I'll never forget this because it was when we were throwing streamers. So a streamer got caught on the ceiling fan, but it was like a little streamer and it was just spinning. And all of us were chanting tiny streamer throughout the whole night. And it was just like, again, those are memories that I'll always have because it's just, it was just awesome. So, but yeah, Ring of Honor was, I loved right around that time. And I didn't watch when Bryan Danielson was there and Tyler Black. It was like right after that, but yeah.
yeah, that man, I tell you, Ring of Honor I know how it is now. It's kind of changed, but
Hmm.
then man, that was the place to watch. Like
Oh
that was
yeah.
the place to be.
Hmm.
The wrestling was just like top notch, the creme de la creme went there,
Hmm.
and I always enjoyed watching it. I always did. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully you get a chance to rest on Ring of Honor too.
That'd
Now
be
that
awesome.
hopefully we'll see you on there too. They always have that. They have a way of bringing in like people for appearances, or who knows, maybe you'll even get signed. You
I would
know.
love that.
So how did your journey go from? Okay, so now you're a professional wrestling fan, and you're going to the shows, or you're watching the shows, you're cheering your favorites, you're tuning in. How did your journey now go from professional wrestling fan to professional wrestler?
Well, okay, so I went to All In. So I was there for that, and again solidified my love for wrestling, for professional wrestling. And then I moved to Florida, and I went to, I think it was, I went to two pay-per-views, two AW shows, like very close to each other. And I want to say, I don't, it wasn't Double or Nothing, um, but it was two shows. And then I remember I went to the beach and I was just walking on the beach, and I was like, you know what? Like maybe I should pursue wrestling. Like it was just a moment where I was just like, I like I would watch it and I'd be like, I think I could do that. Like, I'd like to be a part of the business some way. So I remember walking the beach one day, and then I started to look into wrestling schools, and then I ended up finding Jay's wrestling school, and it was March of 2020. It was actually February of 2020, end of February 2020. I called the school and I was like expecting I would start, I don't know, April, because I think they said their class was full. So I called the school. They were like, "Yeah, come for a orientation." And I went for an orientation. I met the coaches, and they were like, "Okay, can you start?" It was like a Thursday. They're like, "Can you start Monday? Our next class starts Monday." And I was just like, "Whoa!" And I like was not expecting to start that quick, but I feel like, and I'll say this a million times, I feel like if I did not start when I did, I don't know that I would have gotten in because of COVID. Because my class was the what we call the COVID class, because we started the first week of March, and we had 2 weeks of training in it, and we got shut down because of COVID. So, but like that, them inviting me to be in that class really solidified, like, being a wrestler. And I'm very happy that it was kind of like a big, like, whoosh, because I wasn't expecting to start this quick. But I'm very happy that I did. And I feel like if I never started wrestling and I just continued on my, normal career path, I feel like I would have had regrets. So, and here I am.
Yeah, women's Adrenaline Pro Wrestling women's champion. It definitely,
Mhm.
that's one journey to join during, that shows dedication to join like during the beginning of the. So you said it was, so 2020, pretty much when it was like the beginning of the pandemic.
Yep. And it was, so what happened was, they had started talking about COVID, but nobody really knew what it was. And then 2 weeks, it was the second week, third week of March. That's when everything shut down. And so I was like, what's going to happen with wrestling? And we shut down for a couple months, and then once we were told it's safe for you guys to get into smaller groups, what we did was we split our classes to be like very, very, very small, intimate classes. We would go different days. So like if I think I trained on like Mondays and Thursdays or something, so then the other class would train on Tuesdays and Fridays or whatever it was. And so we were still training, but it was a very intimate. And then finally, when it was safer to come together, we all came together. And so I feel like my class was an extremely close class, just because we had to go through all of that together. But I wouldn't change the way I trained for anything. I am so grateful for the way I was trained. And I had, my coaches were fantastic. My class was the first class that kind of got Big Con starting to train us. So, we weren't his first class, but he started to train us. He was like in there helping us, not fully, but then he became a coach officially for that next class. So, yeah, I loved my training experience.
Yeah, you guys had Big Con, you had Jay Lethal, and you had a guy, I think he's called the Technical
Mhm.
Alchemist.
David Mercury, yep, he's amazing.
I saw that guy. Because one of the members, I forgot which member from Exodus mentioned him.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy looked exactly like how I thought he would be. Like one of those guys that like, you want to see how much pain I can get out of your thumb? Here, let me get you here, give me your thumb. And then he would
Mm-hmm.
probably find some way to make you yell and hear, like you probably
Mm-hmm.
hear that like from all the way, down the road. He
Yeah,
looked exactly
absolutely.
like
Yeah, him and David Mercury, he is awesome. He is he's obviously an evil scientist gimmick, and he's got a manager, and they are just so good together. And um he's a technical wrestler, obviously, but the way he like just talks in the ring, he's like, this is he always calls his opponents their next experiment. And he's always just character, and it's just, and he shows you and he gets them all manipulated, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't have to wrestle you, coach. So yeah.
yeah, that's really cool that he's like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your first match like? Were you like, so now you completed training and they said
Mm-hmm.
congratulations, gave you the handshake. They said, you can officially call yourself a pro wrestler. You could take bookings all over the
Mm-hmm.
country, all over the world. But of course, eventually you had that first match.
Mm-hmm.
How was it, and what was going through your mind? Were you like nervous, or were you like,
Oh
Jay
yeah.
Lethal on and David Mercury trained me. I
Mm-hmm.
got Was it a mixture of both?
So, my school kind of partners with this company called Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling, and so typically, it is your first. Yes, he's amazing. Um, Typically, your first match out of school will be at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. Not always, but I was booked. My first match was at Tampa Bay Pro Wrestling. It was the middle of the summer, outside in a parking lot. And I got to face Catalina Perez, like I mentioned briefly before. And I'm grateful that I got to wrestle Catalina because one, I already knew her, I had trained with her. She was, they would, because I was the only girl in my training class, so they would bring her in most of the time. Uh, Excuse me, and help me train so I could, work with a girl because it's different working with a guy. So I felt a little like a sigh of relief that I who my opponent was. And it was amazing. My mom actually flew in from Ohio to come see my first match. And so that was obviously intimidating. But like, I mean, I knew she wouldn't judge me, but it's just that mom's coming to watch. She's never seen me do this before. And I remember getting there and obviously, plan my match, came up with everything. And I will say for a first match, it was more like not complicated, but it was like more complicated than any practice matches I had ever done. And in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, please don't mess up. Please don't mess up. This is your debut. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. And Catalina was so amazing because there was one part of the match when we were planning it, I just could not get down. I could not remember it. So she was really great and like taking that part out. She's like, you know what? I don't want you to feel any type of way. Like she worked with me. And overall, I mean, because obviously when you're in there, especially with your first match, you don't remember anything. But after watching it back, it was not a horrible first match, I will say. So I'm very happy with it. I obviously think that there are places to improve, but I was also horribly sunburnt too because I went to the beach the day before. So I like show up and I have like my chest is bright red. And she's like, I am sorry, but I'm going to use that against you. And I was like, well, I did it to myself. So, she would chop me like crazy, but but yeah, I was happy with it. And, it was an amazing experience, and I mean I want to wrestle her again after I've improved and stuff. But the time and place hasn't come yet. Well, I had a tag match with her, but I'd like another singles match with her.
Carlina Perez, that's the queen pin.
Yep.
That's definitely no joke. Actually, I think I there was another woman I used to get her, and I'm probably gonna find out who she is, but there's another woman I always used to get her mixed up with, and I'm gonna find out. I gotta find out who she is. She's and she's probably gonna kick my butt for that, but yeah. I used to get those two mixed up a lot.
Yeah.
But that's good. You got to wrestle her. She's another one that's making her name around professional wrestling, and it's definitely great to see.
Yeah, she's very, very talented, but yeah.
Yeah. So now you're actually the women's champion for Adrenaline Pro Wrestling. How does that feel?
It's a really, really awesome feeling. So I know my title belt says Shadow. There's a rebranding in there. So I'll be getting a new title belt very soon. But it is a really good feeling. And it's just, it's a great feeling that there's a company out there that trusts you, that you are the face of their women's division, basically. And I have had an amazing time. Like, I've wrestled 3 times. I won it and defended it twice. And it's just been great. I love the location where we wrestle. We're in Ocala. And I'm obviously starting to get people to recognize me because I'm consistently there. And it's just a good feeling. And I like to look at that title belt sitting on my mantle all the time. So, but I love it. It's a really good feeling. And it's something that, it was a goal of mine to become a champ within my first year. And, I didn't know if that goal was achievable. And It was. And, it's a little, and I always, I like to think because I won that title on WrestleMania weekend. So I'm like, oh, I had my little WrestleMania weekend moment too. So
Yeah, that's awesome that you got that. And hopefully there's more belts where that came from.
I hope so.
You know, see you winning titles in places like CCW.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a troublemaker and say maybe we could see you winning something in BWR in Texas, taking away their belts and pissing off Scott Bruce.
Florida.
Or maybe you go to SPW and take George's women's title and piss him off too, or maybe you'll take both and piss off both guys, and
I
they'll
sh-
be like, "Gosh darn it, Emily
well,
does took both our belts."
she took them. But you know what? I'm too lovable. I'm everybody's best friend, so they can't be mad at me for too long.
George Scott, I'm just playing, man. Y'all please don't kick my butt, man. I'm just playing. So what's next in the cards for you, man? I mean, any I mean, I know you're kicking butt in Florida, but any like out of state, appearances, like maybe, Chicago, the Midwest, the West Coast, maybe up here in
Well,
the Northeast. The pizza's nice up here, by the way. It's better than
yeah.
almost any other place. So.
Hey.
Although I
Well,
do
right
love
now,
Chicago pizza.
oh, Chicago pizza is so good. I love Chicago pizza. Um, but right now, I do have a show in Georgia coming up soon. That's the only out of state booking I have as of now. I'd love to go to Texas, but I'd also like obviously to work for a company like OVW because that's closer to home. But I'm just trying to make it out. I'm trying to make my ways around. So, but I do have a lot of shows up here, like coming up in Florida next week. This weekend, where will I be? I'll be in Defuniak. And then the following weekend, I will be in Georgia, and I'll also be in Palmetto, and then I'll be in Miami. So I've got a lot of Florida shows coming up. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll be at a show that's debuting. I think. From my understanding, it's their first show, and I'm excited to be a part of, a company that's going to grow and everything. So hopefully I get those out of state bookings soon, though.
If you get OVW, I'm definitely gonna make. I mean, I used to tune in before, but I kind of stopped because life happens and so
Right.
on. But if I find out Emily Locke is over there, I'm like, okay, I'm locked. I'm definitely gonna, no pun intended, be locked into OVW
As you should.
because OVW, I tell people, like, if you want an alternative to watch outside of AEW and WB and even Impact, OVW's one. They have 23 years. I think maybe even more, but I know they've been around at least since 1999. But they have 23 years of being operational, being in business. Greats have passed through there. So you got
Yeah.
people, John Cena, but
Mhm.
Brock Lesnar. And even let's look at the women. You got, I think ODB came from there.
Mhm.
Alicia Fox, Serena Deeb. So to actually get to a chance to perform there, that
Big
would
opportunity.
big opportunity and a great
Yeah.
accomplishment. Definitely, put on your resume. So I
That's what
tell
I'm
you what,
hoping Monday.
if I was a promoter and somebody told me that they wrestled at OVW for a bit, take my money. Matter of fact, let me know when you're available. We need gas for your car. You need a plane ticket. I want you on my show because OVW is definitely that promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of my goals very soon, hopefully too.
Yeah. So tell us about your Twitch channel, man. Not only are you a professional, you're also a Twitch streamer. You
I am.
probably just got our views on Twitch probably just went up like by 1,000 here. So tell us about the Twitch channel, man.
So, I've actually been streaming longer than I've been wrestling. I started streaming basically right when I moved to Florida. I found Twitch when I feel like I found everything in college. I found Twitch when I was in college, and I found it very entertaining that you could live watch like whatever people are doing. Now I'm not a big gamer. I will say that I'm not a big video game person. I like watching video games sometimes, but I'm just not a big gamer. But there's just chatting, and that's what I do. I do just chatting. And when I started streaming, it literally was just chatting. We would talk about wrestling. But like it wasn't very, wrestling focused. But ever since I started training, my stream has evolved immensely into basically a wrestling stream. We talk about what's happened in wrestling, what I'm doing in wrestling. You know, a lot of people have a lot of questions, and when they see my bio, like, hey, I'm a professional wrestler, there's so many questions that people are genuinely interested, and that's what I love doing on my Twitch stream is like educating people, because a lot of people are like, well, isn't wrestling like, somebody had a really good question about like, you know, if you know, wrestling's scripted or fake, and I hate using that fake word, but I like to say scripted. How can you climb the ladder of and be successful? And you know, that was a really good question, and we had a very good meaningful conversation about it. And so, but sometimes I sometimes do play Sims on my stream. I do like that game. But yeah, it's just, I've met a lot of amazing people on my Twitch, and I hope they're watching because I love them and they know I love them. And I also do stream my Wrestle City Radio on there too. But yeah, it's been a great way, especially, you know, when I moved to a new state and I didn't know anybody. Even though they're online friends, they're still friends that I've been able to meet and converse with. And I'm grateful for the relationships, because I've maintained, there's one person that's been in my stream since day one, and he has been just a friend ever since. So
Don't tell me. My psychic powers are coming in. Kavea.
actually, he is not. The
Oh, wow.
person that, but he has been there for a while too. But the one I'm talking about, his name is Death Traps. He has been there since day one. He doesn't really chat, but like he's still always there. But yes, him and Jack. I'm sure you've seen or Brian. He's there consistently. Those are. And then another guy is Taro. So those are my top 3 friends that I've made on four, I should say, 4 friends I've made on Twitch, and they've been consistent. They've been through it all with me, especially sometimes, you know, there can be drama on there. So they've been very consistent and loyal and helpful too. I've had a lot of people helpful because I had to build, I have a PC right here. You can't see it, but I built my own PC because of stream. So it's crazy. Yes, Jackal.
Wow, so you built your own PC. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty PC. I love looking at the lights on it, but yeah, I've had a lot of people were able to help me, tell me the parts and walk me through the process of putting it together. It took me about 7 hours to build this thing.
So you're a pro wrestler, you're a Twitch streamer, and you build PCs. Is there
Hey, I
anything
built it once.
you don't do? Like that's freaking
um
amazing, man.
I try to keep myself busy. I like crafting too. I'm one of those people who, like, if you see my I'm not wearing it now obviously, but my merch shirts, I make my merch shirts. I help design, not design, but like I put my own stuff on my gear. You know, try to keep myself busy. I'm a crafty person. Yeah.
Wow. That's hey, I,
Thank you.
I got to give it up for you, man. That's a lot of time. I wish I had them talents, man. I a lot of logos that we've had that, like for example, the yin yang sign with the blue
Yeah.
flames, and a lot of our stuff. Like I've had it in my mind, but I've never been able to like put it on paper. I could do like
Right.
a very rough draft, which
Mhm.
sometimes I even like impress myself, and I'm like, wow, I did this. Wow, I can't. I guess only doing a mean stick figure is not all that I can do. But yeah, but those are some very great talents, man.
Thank you.
That's pretty awesome. I could definitely see you using that in some like in wrestling, like like maybe building something to help your team or your opponent or something. Or
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
could definitely
Oh
see you
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So since being in pro wrestling, who would you say is your greatest rival? Because you've had some great ones. I seen you in JC Love. You hit her with that execution at that one time. Whew,
Yeah.
you hit that move with a third. It looked sweet. I was like, man, Edge would have been proud. That was one of
Yeah.
Edge's first moves. And then there was Kelsey Reagan, who you had the W on her, and then unfortunately, somebody was distracting the referee.
Allie Rex.
Yeah, and that cost you the win and whatnot.
Mhm.
But who would you say has been your greatest rival so far in your pro wrestling?
Well, I would definitely have to say it would be JC Love because her and I, everywhere I go, she goes. I'm just kidding. Her and I are booked against each other all the time. And so I would say that she is my biggest rival. She is the person that I am wrestling against the most. And so, you know, we have our thing where when we first started I was her first match like in Florida, and I wanted to be her friend. She betrayed me, and most of the time it's my friend character against her. I'm better than you, I'm luxurious. Only I'm mostly a face everywhere, but at Adrenaline I am a heel. So this was the very first time last weekend. It was the very first time I ever got to face her as a heel. It was very interesting. So, but yeah, I would say JC. And then at the beginning of my career, I would say it was Kelsey, because I was wrestling Kelsey a lot. But I really did enjoy wrestling Kelsey too. So, but I mean, right now I'm starting to notice that maybe Tiny Tonali and I will be starting to have a little rivalry or a little constant. I like wrestling Tiny.
Man, she is like, if I could if I could name her, if I could give her a name, I would say Tiny Brock Lesnar, because she be destroying people in that ring. She's like
Ooh,
a beast.
those suplexes, let me tell you, I felt them.
If she came up to me and demanded me to buy merch, I would just buy. I like, look, I'll buy whatever you want. Just don't suplex me or throw me somewhere. I'm good.
Right.
I'll buy all your merch.
Right.
That girl is no joke.
Right. Luckily, this weekend I'm her tag partner, so she won't be hitting me with the moves.
Oh,
but
that's good.
Yes, I'm on the safe side this time.
Yeah, that girl is. Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm impressed by what she does.
She's
in that.
great.
So in terms of opponents, so you have JC Love, you have um, you know uh, Casey Reagan that you've wrestled, several others. Who are your top five that you hope to wrestle, that you want to wrestle in the near future? It could be from anywhere: WWE, AEW, Impact, the Indies, Japan.
Oh, okay. You said 5.
Yeah, 5.
Okay. So obviously I mentioned I'd like to face Catalina again. I want to get that, rematch with her. I definitely want to I've wanted to face Sasha Banks for a while. Sasha Banks is someone who can go, who is very impressive. I would like to face I want to face Jade Cargo, just because she seems. I'd like to. I just want to feel how Jade is like. Just, she's a wrestler. I just want to see. And I've listened and I've watched her a lot. I'd like to face Thunder Rosa too. Who wouldn't want to face Thunder Rosa? And then probably my fifth one would probably be Charlotte. Charlotte is, she's a classic woman wrestler. Woo! So yes. So I definitely, those are probably my 5 that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's others, but that was, the one that I haven't thought about in a while because it's changed. There was, people who are on the list who are no longer on the list. So, but yeah, I would say those are the ones that I would say.
That is a great top 5, and win or lose, they would definitely bring out the best in you. People have their opinions about Charlotte Flair. Me personally, I think she's one of the best. And I don't know why they say that. Oh, I don't know what the hate is against her, but I have no problem with her. I like what she brings to the ring. If Ric Flair says to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Well, for Charlotte, is to be the woman, you gotta beat the woman.
Right.
And she definitely makes you work for it.
Yes, absolutely.
To me, she's one of the, she like I said, she's one of those people that she will bring out the best in you, whether you win or lose.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty. And then Thunder Rosa, ooh, man,
she's a good wrestler, really good wrestler.
Yeah, and very admirable too, because she's one of the people that's in charge of Mission Pro Wrestling, which another great women's promotion.
Oh yeah.
America. And now they're traveling all over. I mean, I think they were in Florida at one point.
They might have been. I know they do a lot of Texas shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive right there.
Mhm,
So I just got a couple more questions before we
mhm.
cut. So when you're getting ready for your opponent to face your opponent, or when you're getting ready to knock out some reps in the gym or do some cardio, what are some songs that you enjoy, listening to that get you into that zone to knock out those reps, knock out that cardio, or face your opponent?
Listen, go
I
ahead
gotta
and
think
judge.
you're gonna say,
You
for some reason, I think you're gonna tell me either Lady Gaga or Carly Rae Jepsen.
no, because here's the thing: is I get very distracted by music. So now, if you were asking me a couple years ago, my answer would be Bowling for Soup. I love Bowling for Soup. They are one of my absolute favorite bands, and I remember constantly at Planet Fitness, just getting my squats going with Bowling for Soup. But I really am not somebody who listens to music too much in the gym. Anything like I like to listen to podcasts. I'm a podcast person, so I usually listen to true crime podcast. So if I want to listen to anything, I'll just throw on like it's called Morbid. I'll just throw that on. But most of the time, I'm just in the gym, quiet. But if I'm listening to anything, it's most likely
No,
Morbid.
no judgment here. But for some reason, I was thinking about George and Salvador, like this on you're listening to them doing some running, and George and Salvador and them are bickering at each
Yeah,
other.
they're bickering
I
at
get
each
no
other. Oh yeah,
motivation.
I could see. I mean, that would probably be. I'd probably just get all annoyed every time George talks.
Yeah, but hey, speaking of true crime, those are some great podcasts.
Mm,
I remember there was one, a neat one. I gotta find it. So this young lady was actually doing her makeup and telling you about the crimes of. I
I
think it's
love
called.
her.
You
Bailey
know about
Sarian. Bailey Sarian, murder, mystery, and makeup. Love her.
Yeah, she did one about this guy that ended up growing up a murderer,
Mhm.
and his mother encouraged him, and they had an incestuous relationship. And
Yes, I know
all the
exactly what
while,
you're talking about.
she had me so hooked on her words, and all the time I was like, "Wait, this girl is doing her makeup, and she's talking about a murder.
She's
What that is
amazing.
impressive."
Yeah, she was the person who I always enjoyed listening to true crime. My mom really is my mom keeps investigation discovery on all day long. So I like always listened to true crime stuff and everything, but Bailey Sarian was the person who really got me into wanting to listen to true crime. So yeah, she is amazing. Love her. She's actually weaned away from it, and she does something called dark history now, where she tells you dark history things that you wouldn't know about. So she tells you the history behind, like there was one where she did about Nestle and how Nestle probably isn't the greatest company, and you wouldn't know why until you listen to that. So it's awesome, and she does that as a podcast, and she posts on YouTube. So I love her.
Yeah, there's her, and then there's a woman by the name of Anna Solves who
Never
I've
heard of her.
it's on YouTube, but if you type in
Okay.
Anna Solves, like
Hmm.
she talks about these murder mysteries and these murder cases, I'm like, wow, that is crazy. And the way she narrates it is so great. And then another guy I like to listen to, a guy by the name of the Trey King Show. He's not a murder mystery, but a lot of his stuff is like he reports on like crimes that happen, like, oh, this guy's girlfriend just killed him because he told her she didn't want to be with him anymore.
Hmm.
And that guy really opened up my mind to like that are like people are capable of doing some really crazy things regardless of their ethnicity or their gender or
Yep.
whatever. They are really capable of doing some crazy stuff, and I was like,
There's Yep. There's some crazy people out there and you don't realize it.
yeah. And not just like, obviously they say, oh, Florida. No, it's like all over. You got it in New York, you got it in Texas, California,
Hmm.
little towns in Wyoming. I'm like, wow, this guy is very insightful, man. Like I
Yeah.
really informative. So I definitely enjoy hearing his episodes and so on. They're very short. They're like, I'd say like 13 minutes, the most
Yeah, that's
14.
not bad. That keeps your attention.
Yeah. Plus, when I'm on the train here, I'm like, let's get some Trey King,
Yeah.
just see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so with that being said, Emily, I just gotta say, um, Oh, one more. I got one more question. So
Yes.
you've been doing it for a year now. You've been tracking really great. I'm actually impressed by your matches and so on.
Thank you.
I hope I get to see you here in New York,
Hopefully.
or maybe if I'm in Florida and George opens up a SPW, hint hint. Hopefully, I get to take in a show down there
Hmm.
because Florida is one of my old stomping grounds. It's my third hometown, and hopefully
Yes.
back there, SPW's open, and I'll be able to see you wrestle and uh,
Yes, absolutely.
talents. But if somebody came up and to you after a match and said, "Man, Emily, you were so amazing in that ring. How do I want to do what you do. I want to get into the ring and chop it up." What advice would you give that person?
So this actually did happen to me when I was at UCW, Universal Championship Wrestling. A girl was telling me, hey, I'm training, and she's like, I can't get my back bumps down. And we talked very briefly, but I would say that if somebody came up to me and asked me like, what is my biggest piece of advice, I would just tell them not to give up, because there is going to be things that you are going to be good at, and there are things that you are not going to be good at, or you're not going to get right away. And that's something that my coaches would joke with me all the time. They were like, you can do the hardest things so quickly, but the easiest things you just don't get. It took me like 45 minutes to learn how to take a boot to the face, and it was just when they're in the corner. It just took me. I couldn't get it. And so that my biggest thing is like, don't give up. And I would also say, understand that some moves you might learn might not be moves that you can do, and that's okay. Because if you look at my move set, most of my moves are me throwing myself at you or me throwing you somewhere, but I'm not bodying you up. I don't think that I am a big, I can't body people up. I can't do those big, I mean, I could body slam somebody, but it just doesn't feel convincing. So I also feel like you need to understand who your character is and what you're capable of, because I feel like all too much there's a lot of people who overestimate themselves and think that they can do things that they might not be able to do. And I'm not thinking of anything specific, but I was getting discouraged when we learned how to body slam, and I'm only body slamming men, and I'm like, I can't get this down. So and also just character, build your character, because at the end of the day, that's really, like, there was a company that I worked for. They said, yeah, your wrestling's important, but at the end of the day, your character is more important. So maybe before you start wrestling, come up with some sort of gimmick you want to do, because the longer you do the gimmick, the more comfortable you're going to be with it. Because I've been really, really, really comfortable with being my baby face best friend character, that when I have to switch to being a heel, it's not impossible, but it can be, difficult. So, and also being able to have a face character and a heel character, because you could show up to a company and they will tell you that you're working face, but the next thing you know, you're working heel, and you have to be able to be adaptable too. And always bring your gear no matter where you go.
Yeah, that's great. So you see, y'all got some advice from the Adrenaline Wrestling Pro Wrestling Women's Champion, Emily Locke. She gave you a little something, something. Anything else you want after that? You probably gotta pay her or go to a seminar or something. Run that
Buy my
money.
8x10s.
Yeah, there you go. Like, you got a little something, something right now. And yeah, I think I got a good little nickname, the Worldwide Starboy. That could go either heel or face.
Right,
You know,
right.
hey, I'm here to save the day. Have no, because Starboy in Guyanese vocabulary, which is my native culture, my culture is
Mhm.
like star of the show. You're the protagonist, But at the same time, like if I'm a heel, I could be like, yeah, I'm the star of this, man. Who are you? You're the
Right,
supporting.
exactly. Yep.
You're the jabroni at the back. Okay, well, go jabroni yourself over there and get me a water, man. And
Exactly. Yep.
spotlight on me. So yeah,
Yes.
but I'll never be a wrestler, man. Maybe a manager.
Ma-
Maybe.
You know what? I like managers. I have big respect for managers. I think being a manager is, you have to be so good on the mic. And I feel like that's like, I want a manager one day. Maybe one day. We'll see.
Well, George. Nah, George.
No, George, no. That'd be embarrassing if George came out with me.
George would probably want to be. He'd probably want to. I don't know, Mr. Suavemente, Besame Mucho, the Sultan of South Beach. Yeah, he might go back into his old, like, party boy, playboy persona and might want to steal the spotlight and make it
Oh,
about.
I'm sure he would. He would be like, "Oh, there's wrestling going on. I'm the star here."
Yeah. But I gotta say, Emily, thank you very much for this, for taking time out of your busy schedule and being and to be on our show. I'm just sorry that my two co-hosts, Kathy and Rob Bates couldn't be here,
It's
but
okay.
I'm sure they definitely would have appreciated it. But maybe one day, we'll have a co-show with Ringside Society and Wrestle City Radio. You never know, crazy
That'd
things
be
can
fun.
happen. But thank you very much for this.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was really fun.
If nobody has told you this before, you're going to hear it from me. Or if you've heard this before, you're going to hear it again from me, either way. But thank you for all the matches and memories that you've given us fans. And I wish you nothing but the absolute best in your professional wrestling career. I hope you get to travel the world, not just travel the country, travel the world and experience different cultures, wrestling in those cultures as well too. And
Yes.
hopefully, and like I say, if you don't get signed, I hope you get a lot of bookings and a lot of. I mean, I'm hoping you get signed. Don't get me wrong. I
Yes.
wouldn't be seeing Emily Locke is elite or Emily Locke property of WWE Performance Center or
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Emily Locke. But I'm hoping that you get to that point. And if not, I just hope you're successful, man.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So before I shut down the show, where
Mhm.
can fans find you on social media when they want to, find out when your next appearance is, purchase Emily Locke merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
Okay, so my socials, Instagram and Twitter are at I'm Emily Locke, and then my Facebook page is just Emily Locke. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Emily Locke. Those are all my socials. So if bookers want to book me, you can DM me there or you can email me at book@emilylocke.net. I also have that linked on my Instagram and it might be on my Twitter. And for merch, I have different kinds of merch. So if you want to purchase an 8x10 or a shirt that has my lock symbol, you would have to DM me because it's handmade with love from your best friend. And if you purchase one of those, you get a free friendship bracelet. But I also have merch on shoptampabaypro.com that if you want to get a direct link, you can go to my Twitch and go to my chat and !merch. And there's a direct link right there. And I'm getting more merch soon, guys. I promise. I'm working on buttons and stickers. So
Awesome. So y'all heard that?
yeah.
So fans, y'all make sure y'all follow this young lady. She has merch available. If you can't make her shows, the other way you can support her is purchasing merch, and that's how you support indie wrestling. So that way, when she gets signed to WWE or AEW, speaking into existence, and somebody comes up and says, "Hey, look, I got the Emily Locke shirt from Shop AEW or WWE Shop," you could be like, "Man, if you don't get yourself out, I got her stuff since she was on the Indies, man. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm a real fan, man. Yo, how'd you get that? You can't get no more, bro. It's exclusive, man. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
exclusive.
Jealous, man. I got the Emily Locke shirt from the Indies, so it's
Mm-hmm.
always a good feeling, to see somebody, be successful, and it's always great to support somebody when they're, on the come up. So y'all definitely follow,
Absolutely.
cop her merchandise. Bookers, promoters, you heard she has a booking email. There's several ways you can get in contact with her for your shows. Scott Bruce, I know you're listening. You already heard it here. She's definitely available. So she would love to wrestle in Texas. So go ahead and make that, send that email, send that message. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for a nap and dinner. Maybe not in that order. But before I indulge in those activities, if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue and also Instagram at the Remy Blue as well. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. And our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitch at Ringside Site 2019. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Facebook as a Facebook group, Ringside Society. You guessed it right. Spotify, Blog Talk Radio, and we are also on YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. We have a lot of cool interviews like this one, like what we had with George Alonso. Well, no, yeah, we had George Alonso on several days ago. Scott Bruce, several people from Florida, Texas, all over. A lot of great interviews for you to look at. So make sure when you go to YouTube, just type in Ringside Society, and once you see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming through, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. And we also have a Teespring store where we sell, official Ringside Society merchandise. We have T-shirts, we have tank tops for the summer to show your biceps. We have hoodies, long sleeve shirts, and we also have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. So definitely check out our shop, cop some merch. All proceeds go back into keeping this show afloat. It does not go back into our pockets. And tonight we'll probably be dropping our latest design, so be on the lookout for that. This one is dedicated to the refs. We hope y'all like it. If you don't, well, hey, I guess it's back to the drawing board for the next one. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in tonight live. We really and truly appreciate it. Thank you very much. We strive on bringing some of the best wrestling content to you, the fans. To those of you that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And those of you that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away. Well, like myself at the Golden Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. And with that being said, I'm just going to say it right now. We're very well with everybody and their grandparents and the parents of a podcast. We're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So with that being said, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the adrenaline pro wrestling women's champion who builds computers, streams on Twitch, and is everybody's favorite best friend, Wrestle City Radio co-host as well, Emily Locke, for the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And with that being said, we'll be back tomorrow with another impressive guest. As a matter of fact, a fan at that on another impressive episode. But until then, we just want y'all to do 4 favors for us. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace!